Hello everybody, I'm at the Charles Schulz Museum here. He was of course the creator of Peanuts today, and I was always curious where Charlie Brown came from, the comic, and this is some of the earliest from 1950. And it came from a guy that he went to art school. After the war, he enrolled in art school, the art instruction schools, and one of the people that he went to school with, one of his colleagues, was actually named Charles F. Brown. And that's a picture of Charles F. Brown right there. Minnesota Historical Society. It's interesting. And so Schulz evidently asked if it would be okay if he kind of drew him as a comic to use his name, and then the real Charles Brown, said it's okay, but I want to see what it's going to look like. He walked over to the drawing board, was disappointed. Can't you make me look a little more like Steve Canyon or Superman? And there's the real Charles F. Brown with Charles Schulz right there. Pretty interesting. There they are a year later. Interesting also as you look around the museum, so many of the people he knew are in his comics. Some of them didn't last long, but this is Marcy, friend of his ice skating friend of his daughters, Jill and Amy Schulz. The real Marcy. So a lot happened at the Redwood Empire skating rink here in Santa Rosa. A lot of these characters came out of development. Took her name from a family friend, Marcy Carlin. Isn't that interesting? Right, the stewardesses. A lot of these I don't know. I certainly remember Franklin was the black character.
He's still around, but they got rid of Sherman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the TV.
Yeah, it's modeled after a real person.
It's really cool.
Yeah, young cartoonist Rob Armstrong was studying Charlie Brown. His last name doesn't appear, but Schulz asked if he could use Armstrong's last name. He said yes. Very interesting.
Charlie Brown was the only one with the last name.
Snoopy and Spike. He originally wanted to call him, his dog was Spike, and he wanted to call, growing up, his dog was Spike. 1935. And he just sold his comic strip, and he needed a dog, and he used the name Sniffy, but then he saw that name was already in use in a comic book. So he used Snoopy. It's inspired by a Norwegian term of endearment similar to Babe, arguably the world's most famous dog name. So he was of Scandinavian ancestry, Schulz. Then he had a skinny brother named Spike, right? Introduced in 1975. So it's very interesting, Diane, to see some of these characters and how they developed from real life, either as a childhood or here in Santa Rosa at the ice rink and places like that.
That's really cool. And I remember Spike. He was in the
Yeah,
comic
Spike
strip.
was really cool. Yeah,
Some of these never appeared on TV.
Spike
Sherman
played
never did.
jazz and stuff. He was really into jazz and music, and I think he played like the drums or something.
But some of these characters never came in the cartoons, just on the strips, comic strips.
So it's quite a museum here. If you're in the Santa Rosa area, there's a lot of history. Peppermint Patty, they'll tell you where all these characters came from. Peppermint Patty Reichart. Sue Reichart in the studio in '68. Borrowed from Schulz's newly married administrative assistant, Sue Reichart. Peppermint Patty. I always liked Peppermint Patty.
Yep, tomboy.
Sue would also write out shorthand at Schultz's request so he could copy it into strips. So, surname was borrowed from Schultz's newly married administrative assistant. Huh. It's all kinds of little red-haired girl. 1949 inspired the story of Charlie Brown's unrequited love. Sure. Isn't that amazing how much of this came from inspired by real life?
Uh-huh. I didn't know that.
There he is in the army.
I didn't know that before I came here.
That's amazing to me. Some of these
Frida.
characters, yeah.
Oh, that's the little
Frida
red.
Rich.
That's Frida, yeah. Do you know he liked the little red-headed girl?
Another colleague at the art school in Minnesota, the art instruction school. It's amazing. Amazing, 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 these people. Schroeder, Linus, Lucy, Linus Marr. That's the real Linus thing.
I didn't know that was a real name.
Wow,
Like that.
it's unbelievable. Coming from a drawing. I showed the sketch to a friend of mine who sat near me at the correspondence school, whose name was Linus.
Oh yeah, that's
He
not a
thought it
real
was
person.
kind of funny. No, that's
Oh,
him.
that is
That's
a
the
real
guy that
Linus.
sat next to him.
I never knew that name, Linus.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard it?
Showed it to a friend who sat near me, whose name was Linus, so he decided to call him Linus.
I never knew like that was a name. Did you? A real name?
Lucy, Luann, and Philip Fritz Van Pelt.
Yeah, you know Lucy and Linus are brother and sister, right?
Bugler, whose husband was a bugler in the 20th Armored Division where Schultz served during World War II. Added to Peanuts not long after this Schultz's return to Minnesota from the name Van Pelt was bestowed upon the character in 54. It's just awesome. So it was also to honor some of his friends too. Pretty cool.
Did you know Snoopy, Linus, and Lucy were brother and sister?
Yeah, yep.
And they had another baby, I think, but it's only appeared in a few comic
Yeah.
strips.
So there you go. There's the origin. Interesting of some of the
Definitely.
characters on Peanuts. I never knew it. I hope you guys
Do you want
enjoyed
to
it.
use my selfie stick?
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thumbs up or appreciate it.